Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Justin the Food Entrepreneur Show. I'm Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host. That's Bizzarro. For anyone who's out there, you can find us on Instagram at Justin the Food Entrepreneurs. You can find Gorilla Brave on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you guys want to find the podcast, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, anywhere else you guys grow yourself through podcasts. For the transcripts of the episode, Apple and Podbean have those for you guys. That includes the date stamps, so you can go back and listen to the pieces you want. And lastly, the events for Gorilla Brave, guys. That's gorillabrave.love/events. gorillabrave.love/events. There is also a post on Instagram, Facebook about that. I don't know if it's on LinkedIn, but there is it. It has all the dates. Basically, the tour is Denver, Kansas City, Philadelphia. I don't remember who's in August. Then New York is the summit in September, guys. October's Nashville. November's Los Angeles. And I will think of, Boston is in August. So that's initially the way it works, where there'll be more cities, yes, but that's just as we've developed the networking that everyone's requested, that they've enjoyed as we've been building it the last 2 years. Those dates are on there again, gorillabrave.love/events. So it's all there for you guys. With that being said, I'm going to jump right into it. I have Don Hernandez with us from Pinky Ring Pizza. How are you doing today, Don?
Good, Justin. Yeah, just relaxing after a long day of work and just got some planting done. So good day.
So let's talk about your story, Don. I mean, you opened up, we know that Pinky Ring opened up in 2002, but there's a long journey to get there, all the way from little Don, or maybe it was Donnie, I don't know, but all the way to the entrepreneur that you are today. The mic is yours. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. Donnie is usually out of Chicago. Most people call me that. Yeah, I actually started working when I was really young, like 14. I got into the business. I had lost some library books and I had to pay off the bill. And so my mother was working some catering gigs. And I just she's like, you're going to pay them off. You're going to come to work. And at that time I was making, I think it was $25 an hour cash for the hours plus tips. And I just fell in love with the money quick. I was like, oh my God, this is so easy. It's fun. There's a lot of people. And that was like my first exposure really to working in restaurants. I had always been around bars, and I grew up in Chicago. So, there's always like a bar atmosphere, a lot of Irish bars, a lot of Polish bars. So I was always around those because, it's just a lot of family environment in those places. But that was my first exposure. And then, just kind of like everybody else going through the ranks and just, doing expediting and cooking and a lot of front of house management. And then when I was 21, I was learned to bartend, and then I started getting into bartending. My latest, before opening Pinky Ring in 2022, which is a COVID baby, I was working for hotels for a long time. I had worked in Park City for Jean George. I worked for, God, I don't know. I've worked for Hyatt. I've worked for Hilton. But I had met this family of entrepreneurs, the Koziels. They opened a hotel, 86 units from the ground up. It was a micro living building that's still there, 86 units, all meant for easy travel, long-term stay, short-term stay. But the exposure to these entrepreneurs of them doing this stuff, them giving me the freedom to really run food and beverage programs. I opened a Hawaiian surf bar called B1281. That was really fun. COVID happened. We sold the building. Then they had the hotel open up during COVID. We had another restaurant, a Japanese izakaya restaurant opened up. I was running a rooftop bar, and all these things were happening. They were just giving me the keys to the car. I mean, I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. Construction, managing project managers, managing contractors, just everything it was just so immersive. And I went to school at UIC, Chicago, University of Illinois, Chicago, for entrepreneurship. That was my degree. I didn't really know what that meant at that time. It kind of just seemed like I was learning a little bit of everything that had to do with business, accounting, marketing, networking, projects. But it really came together when I started to get ready to open up Pinky Ring and made that decision. I met a girl, I met somebody who really pushed me. She said, "You should be doing your own thing." And she really launched me into that trajectory. She pushed me into pushed my mindset into I can do this on my own. And that's when I knew they were kind of getting ready to make a move to sell the hotel. They're entrepreneurs, and like most entrepreneurs, they're ready to always for a new project. And I was looking for space. Their Pinky Ring used to be a Sir Pizza for a long time prior to 35 or 40 years in the space that my place is in now for pizza. And a few months before that, I had went in there for food, and the owner of that property had passed away. He got hit by a car. And when I went into that space, I was like, I think we can do this here. We can make something happen here. And I didn't know what it was going to be, but something was going to happen there. And I was like, we're going to do pizza. And I had really not too much pizza experience in the back, but I just knew that I could make pizza. I knew that I've opened other restaurants for people, and I knew that I could make it the way I wanted to make it, and that it didn't matter what, I would figure it out. And that's the start of the process. And that's been kind of the last 2 years of my life, is really trying to work through and figuring out. I'd say the last 6 months have been really now believing in myself, and that like imposter syndrome, or that that kind of like feeling like I'm a fraud sometimes,
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
believing in myself, it's kind of passing now. So I mean, that's like a short rendition of my of like my past and being in the business. I mean, it's been so long, I can just recall so many things in my life, but now it's like in the present. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's really amazing to, I think it's the support and the love of the clientele and the people that come in that really just like, it just hits home and just solidifies with what we're doing. We're just on the right path. So I don't know if that's all.
Yeah, no, I have questions for sure. Yeah. Talk to me about skills gain. Let's talk about the life in the restaurants and hospitality and all that before leading up to this, the customer service, the dealing with whatever, sort of some of the skills that are stacked that led up to your ability to launch Pinky Ring Pizza, what I would call more successfully than someone who wouldn't have your same experience. I'm going to anchor it. No one could ever weigh that, but I'm going to weigh it and say it and go out on a limb and say definitely, probably, if you don't have experience, it's going to be a lot harder to open a restaurant. But let's talk about that a little bit. Your experience, your customer service, dealing with humans, because it all led to Pinky Ring Pizza. And I'll get into that and anchor some of that, but let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I've always had a knack of working with people. I feel like I'm kind of a connector or a networker. I've always been, I think a gift I've always had since I was younger is I've always like had an interest in other people, and like especially people that I was trying to learn from or be mentored from. I always kind of try to pick up a trait that I liked and figured out a trait that I didn't like, and kind of, I would just kind of observe people a lot. And so I'm very, part of my younger age is in being in the restaurants, was I realized I can really blend into any sort of situation, and keeping my cool under stressful situations, and realizing that, not everything was an emergency and everything, you can always kind of talk people back. And if they're having a bad experience, you always kind of talk people back into like having a good time. It was always each table was like a performance when I was younger. Like it was always kind of like something, but it was more than a show. It was like being genuine, like an actual like interest in people. And I once I realized when I was connecting to people, I mean, I had customers that would, I mean, they would give me their homes, and I lived in Chicago for a long time, so Lake Geneva was a big thing, or going to like, Wisconsin when there's these homes was really fun. There was and the lake houses, and, clients would give me their houses. They say, hey, I got 3 days. It's not booked. You take it over, take your family, tickets, places, and, just all sorts of little gifts, and trusting me with stuff, and house sitting, or all these little weird things. But that was kind of like that personal experience of like knowing that, with the connecting with people, and that was part of it that made me realize, like, hey, a lot of this, we're serving food, but we're really giving customers like an experience. We really are like getting to know people, and that's what I liked. And the quality of food, working with chefs, working with like people that could really cook. I've never really been a back of the house guy. I've always been a front of the house guy. I love to cook. I cook personally, like a lot. I cook for family. I cook for friends. But watching people, observing, working with kitchens, being in the expo line, working with chefs, learning behaviors, like not some good, some bad, but, and not to say like, I'm all good. Like there were times where I would get in the mix with people, but I think it was that experience, that life experience of like the ups and downs sometimes, the really good times, the really bad times, that just built me up. I mean, you do something wrong, you adjust, like something is a matter and you notice something, say something, just the little things, like someone's having a good day, try to like push that a little further and see if you can just like make it happen a little more. Like I would like take people and bring them a dessert, or just anything, like write them a card or anything like that. So I think those little things, those touches kind of like built my service style. And then just, I think going to school for entrepreneurship on the business side piqued the interest for wanting to like I would see managers, talking to people, or I would see working with contractors, or working like, looking at blueprints. And I always had a general like interest in that. I always thought that was like, man, that'd be really cool to like know what they're talking about. Look, what's a punch list, like go through those things and not be a part of that kind of like really bugged me. And now, as being an entrepreneur, doing those things and working through blueprints and working with contractors, I really like it. Like, it's really fun. It really, really feels fun to like get into like a pro forma, even, to like get finances going. Like, it makes me
Yeah,
happy.
absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of like how my service style is. But, it's just like it's always been about being a team, and the team being a family, and the family taking care of others. I mean, we talked earlier about like, you're part of your family has been in hospitality and farming and all this stuff. That's exactly like my family didn't really grow up in the food and beverage industry, but I realized when I was in these places that I was comfortable, that this was my family. These people, even though I knew it was, sometimes it was come and go. Someone would be there 6 months, someone would be there a year, someone was there 10 years. Either way, you kind of learn to deal with people and like learn how to be a family, because you're all under the same stress. So, you know, how much can you support each other to make the experience better? So that's kind of, I think, hope that answers that a little bit.
Absolutely. Let's talk about going in. You find the location.
Hmm.
You're deciding you're going to go in and do pizza. Do you know pizza at all at this point?
I do not. No, I don't know pizza. I know what tastes good. I've known what I've had that I enjoy, but no, I didn't. I don't really know pizza at this point.
So walk us through, how do you learn it? How do you conquer this beast that you're taking on? You know it'll work. You know you're going to figure it out, but how do you conquer it? Because you got to not only capture it, but then you got to tame it, and then saddle it, and then ride this thing.
Yeah. So I kind of took general manager, director of ops approach where I knew I needed to hire somebody that was going to be able to, that I tried their food and that was proven that that I knew that they would be able to make a good product for me. I had to be able to dictate what I wanted, like tell them what I wanted, and then have them kind of figure out from my words and using books and articles and sending Pinterest boards and pictures and stuff like that, and really kind of working with somebody like that. And I found that person, him and his brother left the place they were at and they came to work for me to open the restaurant. And we actually have, oh God, I had a few other guys that came and joined, and we just started working. It started with two starters that the chef had brought two starters in from Bootleg Biology that were beer starters. We had them going. We still have them going. And we just kept making pizza. And we just kept making food, kept making food. And that's how we cut. That's how we started figuring it out, just doing it. So yeah, that's kind of like the process.
Yeah, talk to me about name, style of pizza. Like I mean, you sort of covered it just now in some of the food and stuff, but name, style of pizza, designing out the space.
Yeah.
And there's pizza everywhere you go. So you're trying to build something here, right?
Yeah. I mean, when we first started opening, this we we were busy out the gate. I mean, it was crazy. Like it was so busy that we were balling dough at after shift, and like just we were just doing anything to get going. We were scratching a claw. We are doing $5,000 days. It was pretty crazy as a new opening restaurant to get going. Pinky Ring originally was supposed to be, my original concept was that it was going to be a burger bar, and I had this idea of this like person holding like a burger with a pinky ring, and that was like my idea of it. I was listening in the car to Wu-Tang, Lil Uzi, and I was driving, and part of it, that whole thing is like Pinky Ring song is in there, and I was like, "This is the name. This is it. We're gonna call it this." My father grew up in Little Italy. My grandmother Little Italy in Chicago, and I just it kind of stuck. Yeah,
I agree with it 100%. I get it now. Go ahead.
the style came from, because as a guy from Chicago, I don't know how, when you're working ovens, how long it takes to do a deep dish pizza, but it takes a long time to have a pie in the oven. So we stuck on New York. We went from New Haven to Roman to Grandma to, I said, let's do New York. And then we ended up doing New York. And that's how it stuck, because I knew we can get a pizza in the oven and out in less than 5 minutes. And that's how we got it going. But I mean, also at that time, I think we felt like, when I was doing it, I kind of felt like we were that department of that style. Not to say that anyone else was bad, that I thought our New York style pizza could compete at a high level, and that when people came in, they would eat it and they would say, "Man, I miss this flavor." That nostalgia. That's what I was going for. I wanted a very nostalgic look, and that look is always that first bite they eat and they just close their eyes. And if they close their eyes that first time, I got them, because I know that's that first thing you're doing is you're going back in your memory. So yeah, that's the style that we were going for.
You talk to me about advertising, marketing, getting this out there. You obviously had people coming already. Was the hype organic because there was a pizza joint already there, or had you been peddling advertising, marketing, Facebook, Instagram? Talk to me. I mean, because I think you have a good following there as well. But talk to me about how all of this sort of came together for you, and what or how you put it together, I should say.
Originally, the marketing plan was really like a guerrilla strategy. When I was getting ready to open the restaurant, I was looking through, going through equipment lists and going through all the different things. My past life, bar management and bartending and all that stuff, that was like a big part of my life. And so I would just go to all the random bars that I would ever have been to, or all the little places that I knew that were like very catchy, or like people like I knew the bartenders, or I knew people would be around, and I would work from those places. And they say, "What are you doing?" I'm opening a restaurant, Pinky Ring Pizza. It's going to be in Madison. Oh, really? Like, yeah, yeah. And then I would keep doing it, keep going to every place, every place. So for like 3 months, I didn't really work from anywhere but from a bar, have a drink or any beer, and just sit and just talk to people about what I was doing. They didn't know what it was. It was just the idea of it. And when we started R&Ding food and getting stuff going, and we had a product that was pretty good. We were still working on it. It was pretty good. Like it was about 80%, 85% there. We would be cooking our menu to get it ready. And so I cooked extra. And so what I would have to do after we would do it is I'd have my guys, when we were done out of there, you had a bunch of guys, I would have them go to different bars and take the leftovers and go feed the bartenders. So I'd say, these are the places I want you guys to hit. Go here, have a drink on me, and go feed the people. And that's how we started. I think maybe we probably hit 100 bars, and that's how we got the word out. We knew the bartenders were going to be the ones to get the word out. Oh yeah, Pinky Ring. I know the guy who owns that place. So that's how we kind of got the marketing plan. I hired a person as well to do social media. That was our biggest thing, is hit social media, hit Instagram. That was our strongest point, was getting on Instagram, having somebody help me get that going. I was doing the post organically myself. I think we got up to like 2,300 followers. That was all my first. And then I hired somebody and she helped me. I said, here's a goal. Let's go. I think we ended up to 8,000. I think we're at 13.3 now. So we're pushing. But yeah, that was my original strategy. We don't pay for advertisement. I don't pay on any other platform. I don't know if that's a kick in the butt or not, but this is just what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the increased social media, the increased following, the growth in Nashville, I think organically life is going to continue to keep filling your trough for you, particularly. And I would say the feedback and the reviews and you spend enough time on the menu, you just didn't put something out there to sell food. And the other thing is just to anchor it for the audience. I agree with the method of, if you're going to build a brand, be the person to go out and while you're building the brand or before it opens, have people get to know who you are, because there is a lot when someone can say, oh yeah, I know the owner. I'm going to anchor that statement for everyone, because that does matter in food. People like to know the person that they're eating at their establishment. It is important, or they're recommending to someone else in the hospitality business. If it's a front desk person at a hotel or whoever, it matters. So talk to me about what it's been like to train the employees, to keep up with the growth, to sort of put proper plans in place, because it has grown quickly. So you're sort of still, now you've tamed it, you're riding it, but the thing's outgrowing its saddles constantly, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's growing, it's evolving really. I think when we first opened it goes back to, I think I didn't answer about your point about design.
Yeah.
My partner, she is a textile designer by trade, and also an entrepreneur. And when we built that thing, I had what I had in my head to build out the equipment plan and this open kitchen concept and all these things. And she had this. I told her what I wanted. I said I want a very aesthetically pleasing. I would want a place where if a woman walks into it, she feels comfortable. Like, it looks cute, it feels good. There's flowers in the bathroom, like it's pink, it's green, And she took that and she just ran with it. And then we found artists that had art, and we put it on the walls and posters, and they were working with us. Like, everybody wanted to be in, which is really beautiful. That's when we open. Like, it's like it's so pretty. But now things are evolving. Like, I had a pizza window. I'm like, well, this pizza window's not really working. So now we're removing the pizza. Like, the pizza window's gone. We've just had pizza boxes there. And I'm like, well, the pizza boxes aren't selling anything. So now we're putting seats up on the counter and TVs so people can sit up at the counter so that it doesn't feel so takeout. I want people to sit down and watch people make the food. So that's evolving. We're I started with a patio, and the only thing we had on the patio was just I had a platform and these planter boxes, and the planter boxes wrapped they were on the platform and wrapped around. It had it screwed in. The second year of business, I took them off and I put a roof on it, and we put the planter boxes on the outside. And I have flowers out there now. Now this year we're gonna put. I'm gonna weatherproof it. So like it's kind of evolving into this and as far as the design part, as far as the exterior of it, it's becoming more of this place to come and hang out in Madison because uh, the standard is high, and I want when people see the price of the food, I want them to make sure that the standard is high. Not that goes to the kitchen. We talked about system. You were talking about systems and planning, and I got a guy that does dough very specific way. I don't do the dough. I have someone that does it. I have a few of my guys that do, but I have one very specific person that has that dough processed down. It comes out at a certain temperature. We're feeding the starters every 2 days. The guys are balling at a certain time. We write on a chalkboard. We are always managing. We taste pizza every morning when we make the first cheese pie. We're always tasting the dough. We're critiquing it as a team. Three of us sit down. We're all trying food on the line the same way. The vegetables are chopped fresh. We don't chop too much. We don't prep a ton. We make sure that we have to chop fresh daily. There's basil on the pie. We do garlic oil on the pizza. We do fresh grated Parmesan. Like we don't, touch points are so key.
Truffle
Yeah,
oil was one of the big ones I saw as well that gained traction with you guys, the truffle oil.
Yeah, the truffle oil pie is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's one. I mean, we have pies that just never gone away. Like we made a pickle pie. I brought pickles in one day, and I talked to one of my chefs, said, "Let's make a pickle pie," and we started making a pickle pie. And okay, we're doing it together. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, boom. We put it down, put it out. It's on the slice menu daily. Like it doesn't go away. That it is a very intricate. Like there is a lot of nuances to this pizza. There's a lot to do. We are very big on garnish. We do a lot of like if you come to my shop, you'll see like there's a lot of garnish. Like it's just what we do, and we make a pie look pretty and it tastes good. So if you're paying $40 for a pizza, y'all know why you're getting the pie. I mean, I'm sure you've read into some of the reviews. Like people say it's a little pricey, but worth it. So I don't think $40 to feed three people is a lot of money, but I do get that you see a pizza and you think this product should be cheaper, but we make bread, first of all. And that's, when then we put toppings on bread, just like the old Italian way when it came back, from the old country. It's like you made bread, you put things on the bread, now you got pizza. And that's what we focus on. So.
Yeah, I think let's anchor this a little bit. I want to anchor it for the audience a little bit more. Let's talk about sourcing your ingredients, what makes your ingredients different, the effort that you go into it, because they are high quality. That takes extra effort, extra labor. It's not only the cost to grow higher quality, it's also the effort to maintain higher quality ingredients in a restaurant and in an environment and not take shortcuts. So let's talk about all of that a little bit. Let's talk about sourcing it. Why did you decide to go with the highest quality? Why did you decide it was okay to sacrifice the cheaper price for a higher quality and drive a price up a little bit? And we all know people are willing to pay for it. People buy Lamborghinis all the time. Okay. So it's not like we don't know. There are groups that want value and are willing to pay for it. But let's talk about ingredients, building this, because I think from day one, you had an idea of building something better, not just a pizzeria, for example.
Yeah.
So it's a restaurant, it's a pizzeria, but it's more than that. There's a whole experience. You talked about the tables, the ingredients. Let's talk about the ingredients.
Yeah. So I have been around a lot of really good chefs in my life. Again, like I said, I've always been in front of the house, but I've always had these great chefs that I've worked, and I've always showed me always shared what their philosophies are. A good chef buddy of mine, Christian Regano from Chicago. He's like his mad scientist kind of guy, and he's always in my head when I make something because I'm like, what would taste good to him, and so. That kind of got the ball rolling. Like, we can make something nice. So the ingredients that we source, we're very careful and selective of how we source because we want the freshest quality ingredients. So like if I'm buying produce, we work with farmers that have CSAs, and sometimes this stuff it's great, but they have extra. So we'll get some of that stuff in and make a pie with it. Sausage, we could buy the little pellets that are already cooked out, but we don't do that. We do pinch and dine, where we take fresh meat. We only pull a little at a time when we put it on there. That stuff comes from New Orleans and gets driven over here from a guy that is a retired butcher. I mean, he brings it in for us. and like little things that we have, we use larger pepperonis. They're 3.5-inch diameter. Like they're larger. They're not greasy. They don't overweight. The flavor is good. Fresh basil on every pie. We make the garlic go on house. We're chopping fresh garlic. So the ingredients, you taste the difference in something fresh. I mean, when we chop pineapples fresh, like, when you're having something that doesn't taste fresh, and your palate will automatically let you know. And when people have our pizza, and when we make our ranch, I mean, the flavor is good, and most importantly, it is consistent. Like when you're eating the pizza, you're eating a consistent product, and you're eating pinky ring when you eat it, and that's because we just don't sacrifice the standard because it's just not worth the margin. Cheese is one of those things where it fluctuates. I think a lot of people don't really understand. Like a lot of the things that we're dealing with is commodities, especially cheese and things like that. So sometimes we're making a little more, and sometimes we're taking a hit, and that's just how the game is.
Talk to me about delivery, third party. Talk to me about manage all of that. What do you use? Do you do your own delivery? How do you navigate those waters with a new business?
We don't really have an in-house delivery system. That's always kind of like, I think it's a good mentor buddy of mine said that's kind of like having two businesses in one. It's just, you just got to manage, two types of people at one time. And we don't really do that too much. We use Square System at the moment, and they have the capability to pull drivers. You can use their drivers to come grab from DoorDash or Uber. They have that built into their system. We are actually moving away. We're going to a different POS system because the credit card fees are just getting so crazy that we are going to start offsetting that. And I think what is going to be standard here soon, which is a lot of people are doing in Europe already, is changing that convenience fee, because I think we lost close to $35,000 this year on credit card fees. It's just a lot of money, and that could be for growth. But yeah, I think I kind of lost track there. Sorry about that.
No, let's talk a little bit about. Yep, you got it.
Yeah. So we get so busy on the weekends. Our bread and butter time is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday day. We're so busy at that time, delivery really just isn't a thing, because we're taking in-house orders and we're taking pickup orders. We get a few delivery options, but mainly we're just firing. And sometimes we just turn the system off because we're just overloaded. So we don't, we got to open dough fresh and get it on. So we don't really do that too much. In the day, like in the weekdays, we're closed on Mondays for prep and reset and cleaning. We'll see a little more on those days, but yeah, we don't really do too much on the delivery side. It just hasn't really been a part of our model. It's been more takeout and dine-in, and we have a beer license and a liquor license. So I try to drive the dine-in a little more because we try to build out the check average a little higher. We can sell beer and stuff like that, and wine at the time. So yeah.
What? Yeah, absolutely. What have you learned the most over? I mean, it's almost 2 years now, I think, maybe 3 years, right? I can't remember, my math's a little off. What are some of the things you've learned the most entrepreneurially, maybe even restauratorily?
Oh, I mean, I'd say like sticking to a plan. You gotta be versatile, and sometimes we make pizza that's not great, like not quality, but like we make a pie that we think is going to be cool. Like we have an idea for a pizza and it's kind of like eccentric and people are like, oh, this is going to be really fun. You leave it on the menu board and it's not selling, I got to pivot and move. We got to move to a different pizza. So we change those things. So just because I have an idea and I come up with something doesn't mean it. If it doesn't sell, the numbers will tell you. So I've learned, don't take everything personally. Everything, it's all about the business. It's like a living thing. You got to you're trying to give people the best environment to do. So that's one thing I would say. I'd say, I mean, I've learned, to be humble. I think that's like a big thing. Just learn to be humble, listen, take meetings and listen to people and see if they got something to say to help you. I've learned don't say yes to everything. Not everything is good. There's a lot of people trying to sell you stuff you don't need. And, if you'll know if you need it or not. If you're questioning it, you probably don't need it. So it's okay to say no, and saying no is okay. When it comes to staff, just, people need a lot of attention and sometimes you make a bad hire and it doesn't really feel like it works out, like it's not working out too well. And I think I've learned it's okay to cut somebody if it doesn't fit your ethos. Like if it doesn't fit what you're trying to provide for people, or someone's kind of making it the staff uneasy or the guests uneasy, I think it's okay. You can fire or let somebody go if it's not working out. And I think that's an okay thing. You got to protect yourself and protect your vision. So sometimes that's one thing that's always been hard for me, is to let somebody go that's not good, not a good fit. So I've learned that. I've learned got to adapt. And sometimes you got to you get reviews that are bad. Don't take everything personally. Again, if you're doing things consistently and doing things right, don't take everything personally. If someone's saying something that's worth of a grain of salt, or it sounds like there's something wrong in the review, then you need to address it immediately with your staff. So those are a few things. You got to adapt quickly. I mean, not all things go as planned. I mean, my dough hook broke off my machine on Monday. So
Oh,
I have
that's
to
always fun.
yeah. So it's $1,600 bill that I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting. Too cold a dough, it's
Yeah.
but I could either be upset about $1,600 or I could say, now we know what the limit is. That's kind of how I'm at now. So it's like that. It's expensive to go to school for $1,600, but that's a school of hard knocks. So it is what it is.
That's for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the one thing I will say about food or restaurants or in general is there's so many inputs on a daily basis that in other businesses, I go in, I win my day, I got all my projects done. Well, in food, you win your day if you're still in business the next morning. That's the way the game is. I'm serving the next day. There's nothing happen. I didn't get closed down. That I didn't lose a major piece of equipment. I still have food coming in, so on and so forth. I think as long as we keep going, guys, we want to do a great job. Don't get me wrong. And we want to set high expectations. But one of the bigger things is always that I don't think a lot of everyone understands is every day has some sort of crisis or situation you're dealing with, not only because you're an entrepreneur, but because also in food, there's how many ingredients, there's how many parts of a recipe, there's how many employees, there's how many customers, there's how many suppliers. And we have influence and impact on all of them just the same, but they are inputs into our business. And it's always juggling it. And as we talked about earlier, it's the ability to remain calm during those storms. Those who can all of a sudden remain calm while there's chaos going around them, generally that's a superpower, right? That's what we talked about in leadership. Let's talk a little bit about building relationships. Let's talk about the importance of it. We've talked about you have business partners, so you've built relationships there. You went around and built relationships before you ever totally built your business. And now that you have your business, you're actually focusing not on delivery, because I would say at the core of that essence, and by what you're also saying by managing two different clients, is what you're best at is managing the people that are in front of you and building the face-to-face relationships. The touch point was a word you used, which means physical in a lot of ways, even though it doesn't have to always mean that. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So from a relationships standpoint, so actually, I don't have a business partner per se. I own 100% of my business.
Oh, there you go. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. That's always been a mentor thing I've been taught for a long time. I don't know if that's 100% right, but starting off, it's kind of nice to be in control.
Agreed.
I'd say from a networking standpoint, from a business standpoint, from relationship standpoint, I find that just like a day-to-day conversation with people that just seem like I gel with works out pretty well. I am cordial with people that want to take a meeting or have a pitch for me about a product, but I find that when I find somebody that seems to make sense to me, and this is from a vendor standpoint, that I am loyalty is a big thing for me, and I want somebody that's gonna when I'm out of cheese on a Monday or pepperoni on a and I'm cut down to my last case and I'm busy. I want somebody that's gonna go out and go get me a case of pepperoni and bring it in. Like I need that person, and they'll show you who they are. Like I have a rep right now, and she's been busting her butt working with me, and she's got me. I'm like, dude, you're amazing. Like, she'll go grab something for me or make it happen for me, and that's that type of person. When they're there, they're not just there to so that you pay your bill on time and that you're ordering more stuff that you don't need. They're keeping an eye out for you. And from a vendor standpoint, I really appreciate that. From a client standpoint, again, like a mentor of mine always said, he said, look, there's 33% of the people that are out there that are your client. The rest of them might not be your client. It's like, and that's okay. And you need to focus on that 33%. You need to go and find the people that want what you have to sell. They're looking for you. You just got to figure out how to get in front of them. I keep my product good, consistent, flavorful. I keep it simple. I do pizza. I don't do ravioli. I don't do lasagna. I do. People walk in, they think I'm gonna have I do pizza. I got 2 salads. I got 3 desserts. I got cookies. I got pizza, cheese bread, garlic bread. You look at my menu, simple, but it is. We are focused on pizza. We are a pizzeria. We do pizza, and so when people come in, I tell them this is pizza. Like, and when they try it, that's again part of their relationship. Is how was it? Did you have a good time? Did you enjoy it? We loved it. We loved it. We loved it. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. Tell somebody else. Appreciate you coming out. Like every time somebody eats and we appreciate you. I appreciate you coming. And that part of that communication is
Yeah,
always
that
nice.
call to action.
Yeah, that call to action and just that general like one of my biggest pet peeves, and I don't want to be negative, is if you spend money somewhere and you're spending good money, I don't care where you're at. You spend 40, $50, you're taking somebody out for dinner, you're taking yourself out for dinner, $100, $200, just a genuine appreciation for you being there. Like not even a goodbye or thank you or, any of that when you leave it. I mean, it kills me inside when it does. I'm like, oh my God. And that's
Well,
what we
well, and one of the things I've learned, and from that perspective, is there's some people that $50 means the world to them, and they're spending it on a celebration at your restaurant,
100%.
And yeah, and I agree. Like some people, it's $50 to drop in the bucket. Okay, we don't think about it. It's just a person. They're loyal to us. We're great, but they're spending their money there. But there's also the thing that I really anchor with staff and stuff like that is they're also the people here that are celebrating a significant moment in their life. And this is either a memory that they're coming back to revisit, or they're here to celebrate something, or this is what they chose as the surprise, or they saw it on some influencer or Instagram and it's something they want to do. But either way, sometimes it's not just as easy as they're spending money. Sometimes there's a great memory and thing there, and we can either be a part of that memory as the business and they'll keep coming back and tell people about it, or we're a passing part of the memory, meaning we're less forgettable and it's not anchored. Think about it, guys. How many places have you eaten that are part of your memories that you'll always remember the owner talking to you? You'll always remember the staff and the service they gave you versus the one you didn't. And the memories that are attached to a birthday party, whatever, are that much greater. I hate to, it's going to be weird to say, but there was a birthday party I went to at a Bar Louie in Denver, and for whatever reason, the service there was so well done. I will always remember that birthday party for the rest of my life. I'm not kidding. I mean, even that they put decorations on the table, even they did these little, it was near Halloween, so they did little Halloween candy buckets. Like, we didn't ask for those things, they just did them. And it made a difference in the interaction, the birthday, and, you know, 4 generations of a family at that time that were sitting at the table. And it was a big deal, but they did their homework. And when we called to make a reservation for such a big group, they asked all the right questions so they could tee themselves up to win and succeed. That was the thing also. So I think that that's what we're talking about here. You know your audience, you get to know your customers and your clientele when you do it this way. And you can serve someone so much better, right? Like, I'm more satisfied when someone pays attention to me and gives me what I want versus giving me what they think I want.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to the staff too, I have an open kitchen. So it's like, even when someone comes and this is the best pizza I've ever had, or this is the best pizza I had in Nashville, uh, or just, they look at me and I said, it's not just me. Like, this is Hugo, this is Sean. You know, like, I'm like, these guys made your food. You know, they're the ones that made it. You know, it's all thanks to them. They keep it consistent. And then, oh, thanks guys, thank you. You know, so it's that hypes them up. That makes them feel part. Like, you're not just a cook. Like, you are part of this thing. You know, like, I'm not. I can. The more you guys do good, the more I don't have to be lingering around, and the more I have time to go work on the business, not in the business. I'm here because I want to, like, get the sales up, get the tips up. But I'm here because I trust them, right? I know that they're going to do the right thing, and that's what I always try to say. I'm like, do the right thing. Like, if someone complains because the pizza's cold, just make another slice of pizza. Like, if someone's, you know, they don't like the way their pizza, just make it again. Like, it's fine. We'll figure it out in the finish. I mean, yeah, it's not, it's does it suck to lose the product? You got to remake it, sure, but that's not why we're here. You know, like, we're here. We got this person in here. We want to make sure that they're coming back. We want to make sure that they're having a good experience. So that's always a part. I 100% agree with you. Like, when someone knows your name, or they know what you eat or what you drink, or they go out of the way to put candy on the table or give you something just to say thank you, or, man, how you doing today? Like, how's your day going? You got me. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think it's like Cheers, where everybody knows your name, you know, because the neighborhood and it still matters, guys. And in food, and, you know, as we're starting to reconnect and come into an enlightenment period, sort of from a darker period of the world, like, humans are looking to connect. Entrepreneurs, we are facilitators of that connection and the neighborhoods, and pulling people back out of their houses and back into the social environment so we can thrive and have our places that we go or we're loyal to. That's what we've always done. That's what's important. Just because we can talk to someone 5,000 miles away does not mean that we shouldn't still talk to our community and break bread with our community. So, you know, I think that that's one of the important things. Where do you hope this goes, Don? We're, you know, you're the captain of your seas. You're leading this ship. You're about 3 years in. Like, I would say you're doing well. You're stable. You've built a foundation. Where do you take it?
Yeah, so I envision Pink Earring as a national brand. I'd like to build it to a point where we're focused really on Tennessee and build another location. I'd like to start building a demand for, you know, even frozen goods, like being able to take frozen pizza or frozen slices so you can ship and drop ship them out as well. Just starting, I'd like to get, my goal is 10 locations in the next 7 years. So the next one, I've already started planting some seeds for the next 2 locations, but we're looking for more opportunity. We're just trying to find the right deal. A lot of these leases are very expensive, so we'd like to find a place that we can either get a really good lease or find something we can purchase. But the bank has been very good. They've been fans of what we're doing and advocates for trying to find financing or getting creative with stuff. So it's been really nice to have the bank on our side, especially building a rapport with our banker. I think it's been great. And I want to take Pink Earring into the next levels. Is I want to just a household name. So that's my goal. I see it as something that, you know, I see it more at the brand, like a lifestyle brand. That's how I envision Pinky Ring, is like a lifestyle brand. So that's my go. That's my focus.
Love it. Thank you, Don, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Where can they find you online? Where they can they look you up? Where can they find your Instagram? All that good stuff.
Yeah, we're at www.pinkyringpizza.com. You can at Instagram at Pinky Ring Pizza. We're also on Facebook and Pinky Ring Pizza as well. You can find us there. We'll be on YouTube shortly.
Awesome. I really appreciate your time, Don, and anyone in Nashville area. I know there's a lot of food tourism going on there as well. Obviously, people go there for the music and the honky tonks and the parties and the bachelorette parties, but there are the food tours. I would definitely head over to Pinky Ring Pizza. I've heard nothing but amazing things. That's why I've asked him to be on the show. I know I'm going to go try it when I am there in the fall. Hopefully I get to Nashville before that, but definitely in the fall when I'm there, as everyone heard, in October. So, guys, what are we doing here on the show for the audience? We just anchored it. I just want everyone to know I'm just going to jump right into it so we can get off and move on. But it doesn't matter whether it's something that's out there like pizza or it's a new concept. We have to build relationships with our audience, our customers, our clients, our employees, our vendors, whoever. Why? Because when we need them the most, they are there for us. Why? Also, because they become the greatest word of mouth. Also, we do right by the individuals. We do something wrong. We admit our mistakes and do the right thing. We talked about it. Those customers, that mistake become whatever you lose in that mistake often is repaid tenfold, because the person can't stop talking about how someone fixed the problem. Because in general, even in hotels, even in customer service, it's less and less likely that a company is actually just going to fix the problem. Amazon might do that here and there, but it's important to do. It's food, guys. It's a food cost. You're going to produce it. You're going to lose it. Some of it's going to expire here and there. You're going to mess it up and throw it away on experimenting. You see where I'm going? It's worth the marketing and advertising dollars when you look at it that way, to put it in your food and just do the right thing. And then that person becomes your word of mouth. Don, if you could say anything to anyone, or you were mentoring someone, this will be my last question, really, since I think I already said that. But what would you tell them if you were telling someone or mentoring someone who was trying to figure out how to get into a food business? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's this quote. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Sorry, my computer went off. There's a quote I like to share. Someone told me, it's when expectations are not met, be careful not to be critical of myself or others. Ask, am I communicating my needs? Am I putting realistic expectations on them or myself? And that, for a young entrepreneur, someone that's getting into it, I'd say that's kind of the ethos of learning to be a leader, is get rid of the ego, get rid of self, know you can run a team and be committed to your team and to your vision, and I think if you don't let your ego get in the way of what you're committed to, and what you're committed to when you're trying to open something or become something that's bigger than you, something that you envision is, take care of your people and they'll take care of you. And I think that's the best advice I could probably give.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's the grow the humans in your business and they will grow your business, guys. Like that's what we're talking about here. Just do the right thing and invest and care, honestly. Open heart policy versus just an open door policy. I don't mean that you're their therapist or anything like that as entrepreneurs. But what I do mean is that they spend a lot of time with us, more than their families in a lot of cases, in our businesses. So there's great influence and impact there. So
surround yourself with other entrepreneurs, you need them.
Yeah, no kidding.
You gotta have. No one understands like somebody else is going what you're going through. It's just not. There's no other way to figure that out.
No, and I will say this: as you go through ups and downs as entrepreneurs, you have to reset. Sometimes you have to reset yourself. You have to find a place to reset. May not be in your existing environment. You may have to step out of it temporarily. And yes, that is shocking, but an entrepreneur is like a boxer. Sometimes we need to go back to the gym where it all started, or back to the streets where it all started. We have to have a reminder of why we did it. So, and I think we talk about that a little bit here. You guys just always be humbled. Always remember where you came from. Always remember how hard it was to get to where you are. And always remember it's a blessing to be where you are, or be
Yeah.
alive or have your business alive. Those are blessings, but do not forget to stop working hard on all of the above. Growing yourself, growing your businesses, guys, because once you stop, neither one grows. If you don't concentrate on growing one or the other, you don't grow yourself. And the business doesn't grow if you're not growing it or you're not growing yourself. They all go hand in hand. It's the craziest thing. It's the thing I love the most about entrepreneurship is the constant growth, whether I want to or need to or not, it's happening. Right? So anything that
Yeah.
I didn't say, Don, that maybe you want to share with the audience or anything that you want to close off with? Or
No,
maybe
I
about
mean,
your business or anything.
no, I mean, I have a family business. My father, he helps me with the business as well, and it's nice to have a family business again. As a family business, I think it's you got to know to have when to say no to some things or when to have boundaries. It's your business. It's your if it's yours, it's yours. If you got a partner, then it's another situation you got to get into. I would say if you could start off a business and find funding and do it by yourself, I would recommend, being your own boss. For a long time when I was trying to start out other businesses when I was younger as an entrepreneur, I kept waiting for somebody else to help me, like to do it with me, to do it with me. I was like, I'll do it, and then they'd
Yeah.
never show up or they never show up. And then, by the time I figure out I'm 41 or 40, next thing I know I'm opening my first business, and I'm like, I feel like I should have done this a long time ago, but that's because I was waiting for other people to kind of help me with it. And no one's you got to do it. If the entrepreneur is not everyone's built as an entrepreneur. So if you got the bug and that's your thing, then you do it. Don't wait for others to lift you up. You're the person to do it. You got to get your vision out. No one sees your vision like you. No one could see what I was seeing in my head. And so, yeah, it's yours, and it's for you to give it to the world and to other people. So I I think that's about it. I mean, I really enjoyed that being on the show or on the podcast. I appreciate you reaching out. This is really cool. I kind of didn't realize what I was going to say when we came in, but yeah, it's good to hear. Good to hear it because I hear myself say it because it make it like you said it reiterates why I'm doing this. So
And our words are our rudders for sure.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and reminding ourselves, and I think sometimes it's hard at being an entrepreneur. You mentioned fellowship, Don, and being around other entrepreneurs. Do you purposely seek that right now? I feel like that's an important question. I don't want to leave it out there.
100%. I mean, and other entrepreneurs that I talk to are going through the same things I am. Now, they may have different perspectives and viewpoints. I can't really talk to somebody about what's going on in my life when someone doesn't really understand what's, even just terminology, like, talking about P&Ls and things like that, or trying to like adjust in the marketplace or what are they doing. The great thing I do like about eats and I do like about restaurants, I reach out to other entrepreneurs I go to their pizza shops. I'll visit them. I take trips. I purposefully reach out. I don't see anybody that's in this, even guys that are local to me. I don't see them as competitors. I mean, not to say it in a bad way where they don't compete, but they have their market segment. I have mine. But when I can reach out to them and say, hey man, I got this thing going on, or my dough machine broke, or can I come, can I borrow a bag of flour or something like that, or tell me about how you guys ended up finding a new POS system. it makes all the difference. I can vet it out quickly because I have people that are seasoned in it that either had good experiences or bad experiences that can help me out. So yeah, I think having that network close by and having those people that you can rely on. I was having a bad time. There's an entrepreneur that opened a company in Salt Lake that kind of adopted me when I was younger. His name is Randy Casper. He owned a company called Marine Products. He sold it now. But to watch him move, to watch him work, to watch how he dealt with people, to observe that, and then to be able to call him and say, I'm having a hard time with something like in life, just what's a hard thing in life. And he can just, get the wind back in my sails. And that's, I mean, that's priceless. So finding those connections, finding those people. Yeah. I love it. I need it in my life. 100%.
Yeah, I do too. And the other thing I want to say, just to highlight, is even as an entrepreneur, even when I started a business, there was a mindset that I needed a partner. I needed someone that was going to make up my shortcomings or the acumen of business things that I didn't have. I will tell you guys this, something that's really been reinforced in my life over the last 7 years in particular, is that when you're building a business, you learn every piece of your business and every silo, whether it's accounting, HR, whatever, you become an expert in every single piece of your business. So you don't really need another person. You're choosing it. You're choosing it for another reason. They're bringing something of value beyond that. Okay. So if you want to know whether you want a partner or not, it is not for the reason that they have things that you don't have, because an entrepreneur, there's no such thing. In general, we figure it out, or we figure out how to find someone who's good at it that translates it enough to us that we can do something with it. Maybe I don't make pizza. Justin certainly didn't make bone broths by the 500 gallons buckets. I didn't do that. That was chefs that worked for me. But did I understand the process enough and the recipes and the procedures and the SOPs and the USDA enough to know how it all fit into our business? Yeah, absolutely. So I think I agree with that mindset. It's a weird one because you're fighting something that truly in your mind exists, but it's just a construct, guys. The construct really is that you haven't understand that the real thing you have to build as an entrepreneur is the capacity to grow yourself. And when you gain the capacity to grow yourself and all the things that you're not good at because you have to as an entrepreneur, and then focus on the things that your business is only good at because they're your child and you want to make them good at, no different if they were really good at soccer. Well, I'm going to encourage soccer. Okay. This case, pizza. This case, high quality pizza. This case, no delivery. Okay. Those are all focusing on what am I good at? What am I not good at? Same as me as the superpower. So if I focus on growing Justin, I become really good at it, then I can also grow others. And if my intent is to grow them larger than I've ever grown, then they can possibly grow others larger than they've ever grown within our business. So I think about it. My willingness, there's no cap. I don't have an end point. Why is that important? Because the target is enormous. And while I'm wanting to hit it, I also understand that the target itself is the growth of the humans. And as long as the humans are growing, so is the business. And the minute any of that stops, there is no more business. Whether we indirectly understand that or not, that's usually what happens. So thank you, Don. Again, I appreciate you. One more time, where they find you online or come to your location and try your pizza while they're in Tennessee.
Yeah, we're at a 414 Gallatin Pike South in Madison, Tennessee, 37115. That's the area code or zip code. It's www.pinkyringpizza.com. Pinky like the jewelry. And then at Pinky Ring Pizza on Instagram. Hit us follow. We do a lot of posting, and Facebook as well, Pinky Ring Pizza. So that's how you can.
I have to say that as an Italian descendant, I giggle every time you say the word, because it's just, I don't have one, but I do know that every relative I had that was male definitely had one for very long generations, decades. So
we had this long story for a long time about like, oh, his, his grandmother and all this thing. And I was like, people were like, you lose them after like 30 seconds. And now we're just like, they'd be like, why pinky ring? We're like, because they make you feel good. That's like our slogan. We're like, tell the guys because they make you feel good. It's like, now that's kind of our go-to. But I'm like, let's just pivot. Let's change it. You're losing them after a story. They're not trying to hear all that. So I give them a quick pitch. So yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's been fun. The branding's been awesome. People love it. So it's really fun part of it.
yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you again, Don, for coming on the show. Everyone in the audience, like, share, subscribe to the podcast, like, share, follow, subscribe, whatever social media of your liking to Pinky Ring Pizza. Again, it's pinkyringpizza.com if you want to find them online. Also, I do recommend following them on Instagram. Guys, it is worth looking at. It's really well done. It's really authentic and it's very vulnerable and it's true. And the message is delivered, guys. That's why Don and his team that he's put together at Pinky Ring Pizza is doing so well. It's everything about it is true to who he is. It is a reflection of him, not something he wants to be or who he thinks he's going to be. It's just him. That's it. It's that simple, guys. Don't complicate it. Don't church it up. Don't make it dirt. Just be you. Just be true to you, your past, what you want, what your dream is, what you're trying to build, and all the rest will take care of itself. I love you guys, and we are out.